It is by far the weirdest slate since preseason. Bobby Gomes, how's it going?
It's going well. Still have an issue with this fire alarm. Called maintenance. They still haven't come to fix the battery. So
Well, that's awfully exciting because we are going to have a heater of a pod, so it will continue to go off. Ready for the first game?
yeah.
All right. So the first game we have here is New England versus Miami. New England are 17-point favorites, a 45-point total. Like not an awful ton of injury news, I guess. The biggest one for me is actually Myles Gaskin on IR. Patrick Laird will be one of like the two. I guess they'll probably have Samaje Perine active, but of the backs that they started with on their roster or like practice squad this season, it's Delance Turner and Patrick Laird. And Turner got like 4 carries last week. I think it might be one final hurrah for Patrick Laird. If they're down 17, I think his reception total could be pretty nutty. But what do you do with a player like that who has – it's hard to see him having multi-touchdown upside, but, man, he could catch 6-7 balls pretty easily.
Yeah, I like Laird situationally here, especially in tournaments. Just for his pass catching, you take Myles Gaskins out of the equation. Yeah, I like Laird. I think he's a good tournament play.
On the other side, is it business as usual? Because I just like James White, Julian Edelman, I'm totally fine with. I'm seeing Sony Michel projected well, and we've been down this road before, and I just can't do it.
Yeah, so they have one of the higher team totals on the slate. It's 30. They have a 30 implied team total. So I think for tournaments, like stacking up this offense is interesting, especially versus a Miami secondary that isn't great. The questions with the Patriots receivers, this will be kind of like a get right spot for these rookies who have kind of come along these last 2 games. You hit on Sony Michel. I wouldn't play Sony Michel and Brady in the same lineup. I think you'd definitely make a case for Sony Michel. I wouldn't leave out a guy like Burkhead if you're MMEing. I think he's interesting. I'd probably rather like if I'd probably have all 3, and if I was MMEing. I just think this game for the Patriots is a must win. The implied team total is high, and it's a good spot. On the other side, like I think the Miami Dolphins defense at 1,800 is actually interesting for cash games if it saves you what you would like to save.
Yeah, especially if in the scenario where Miami kind of goes down early and then New England lets off the gas because they would have, like, if it's a large spread, they could get backups in and, you know, cheap defense against some backups.
The New England tournament. But I still think they'll put up points even with backups, but you're not going to be playing those backups. So,
yeah. All right. Top into our next game. We have the Bills versus Jets. I'm not like there. It's a 15-game slate. I'm playing 0 players from this game. Bills have said that they will start their starters, but then Sean McDermott also said that Matt Barkley may end up getting in the game. So for me, that means we probably get a half of their starters, like not playing any. And then on the Jets side, Le'Veon Bell's fine. He gets a ton of work, but like the entire season, he's gotten a ton of work, and he's had like 2 or 3 games over 20 fantasy points. I don't know if he's had any over 25. So I really have no interest in this game.
No, I get it. I actually kind of like Barkley, not like in. I think he'd play well. I don't know if I'd play him in either tournaments or cash games, but
well, the problem is he's only getting a half, I assume.
Yeah,
they said that they're starting.
Exactly. No, that's why I was just.
Yeah, if he was starting, I'd have some
starting. I'd probably be a little bit more interested. Duke Williams is someone who's popping for whatever reason. Maybe he's a backup that gets run for the Bills. That would be pretty much it at the wide receiver position. Outside of that, I have no interest.
Yeah,
I don't have any interest anyways. But
yeah, any interest in any of the Jets?
No. Did you see Gaze's burner account?
No, there's a burner account for Gaze?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, yes. This is so great. I love old man GMs and old man coaches with burner accounts, but no interest in this.
He's not that old, though. He should be more sharp than that. he's
old. All right, next game.
Used for that.
This game sucks. Next game, a very interesting game. We have Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. Tampa Bay are 1-point dogs now. That line is flipped from them opening as 1-point favorites. 47.5 point total has also come down 2 points. Still makes it one of the higher totals on the slate, maybe the highest if I can keep scrolling here. So, I mean, this game looks to be rife with passing volume, as the Buccaneers and the Buccaneers and Atlanta have both just given it up through the air, and Tampa Bay specifically has had an awesome run defense. So, I guess the question is, everyone's going to be stacking this game. Would you rather stack it in a different way, or are you gonna how do you approach a game that is going to be super popular for good reasons?
Yeah, I guess you could stack it. Everyone's going to stack it, right?
Yeah, I would imagine it's the most
What would
stacked
be the
game by a wide
differentiated way
margin.
to stack it?
I'm thinking probably if you're going Tampa Bay, like Justin Watson or Cameron Brate, or maybe Ronald Jones. I don't know what his ownership looks like. I'm thinking Perriman's going to be massively popular.
Yeah, I would think Perryman will be pretty popular as well. Scotty Miller active?
No, he's on IR. He's still on IR.
Okay, that's good to know. So,
it's good information.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love this game. Maybe
Devonta Freeman, Atlanta D.
Yeah.
I mean, Atlanta D is massively
Julio is solid for Cat. Like if you can get Julio in, Jameis is someone who's in cash game consideration, but I think I'd rather go Hundley at this point.
Yeah, we have. Do you think there's a very good chance that Kyler doesn't end up playing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we have Julio Jones has 300 yards over the past 2 weeks on 35 targets. He'll be this week's Michael Thomas, I believe, in terms of just receivers. No matter how priced they are, people are going to prioritize to get to. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's viable in this game. Perriman, I would go like Watson Brate over Perriman. I just think Perriman's going to be much more owned, especially for the price discrepancy. They got like similar volume, and Perriman got there on like his final catch of the game, got him over the 100-yard bonus. If it's not for that catch, Watson basically scores the same amount of fantasy points. So on the other side, it's hard to get different. Maybe Russell Gage would be the way to do that.
Yep.
All right, let's hop in. You're going to hate this slate?
No, I kind of hate it.
Why?
Just doesn't really, I don't know.
I love all the backups.
Just don't want to deal with all this news. Like, I just don't care.
We've got on the next game the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns. It is a 2.5 spread in favor of the Browns and a 43.5 point total. I mean, no injury news in this game. I guess Odell Beckham is expected to play. He was dealing with some sort of illness. I think I don't know if Jarvis Landry was expected not to play, but dealing with a fractured vertebrae. The only, for the Browns, they've been so dysfunctional. The only player who's consistently been productive is Nick Chubb, who is right now on pace to set the NFL or to be the NFL leader in rushing yards. He's 90 ahead of Christian McCaffrey, so it seems like he's pretty much a lock. He said he acknowledged that he cares about that, so I don't know, a little bit of narrative street there. On the other side, no injury news, but John Ross came back last week. For the first week he was back, he wasn't really involved last week. Played a majority of the team snaps on an inflated game because they went to overtime and had to come back. He got over double-digit targets, and he had the most air yards for a player in the season this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess
I like
don't know.
John Ross.
John Ross. I think he'll end up being popular because people saw what he was doing last week. But I don't mind. Let me see, John Ross. I'm only looking at 4% ownership for Ross. If that would be the case, I'd be overweight on that by a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Any interest in Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon?
Not really.
On the other side, 2.5 point favorites. Odell Beckham banged up. We could see a decent dose of Nick Chubb. Leads the league in 100-yard games. 100-yard bonus seems, I don't want to say a lock, but he's done it, I believe, 50% of the time this season. Maybe a little less, maybe 7 times. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. You could go Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Baker Mayfield against
Jarvis
this.
gets a bump. I think Beckham, he needs 47 yards for the 1,000-yard bonus, and then they probably remove him with the injury concerns with the groin. And for that reason, Jarvis would see a bump.
I can get on board with that. Little Jarvis action.
Yep.
Yeah, outside of that, not a ton of interest in this game. Target shares are also pretty concentrated, so it's easy to just pick out the players in this one. Next game, a game with playoff implications. We have Carolina versus the Saints. Carolina are 13.5 point dogs. It's a 44 point total. The total's come down 4 points since opening. So the playoff situation for the Saints is they win and they get a first round bye. But if the Packers lose, they also get a first round bye. Or I believe if the 49ers lose, they get a first round bye. But the 49ers,
That was just dependent on losses, not on actual. Like if they win, I don't think it helps them really. They need a loss from the Packers or.
Okay. Yeah. So this one, the Saints facing. I think if they both lose, both them, the Packers and the Saints, I think the Packers still get in.
Yeah.
So the Saints dealing with a decent amount of motivation, but if they are killing Carolina at halftime, there would be no reason for them to continue to play. Michael Thomas, 9,900, I believe. Are you still going back to the well on him?
No, not at that price tag.
Yeah, I think the risk that he doesn't play even a quarter is enough to easily get.
Yeah, if it was another week, like he's my guy. But this week, you don't even know. Like they can pull the plug whenever. So
yeah, I feel the same.
I prefer Kamara actually.
Yeah, I feel the same about Kamara, but his price, like that's the difference for me is you are pricing in a lot more of that risk. So Kamara, I don't know. I'm still not awfully enthused by Kamara. Last week, he had 29 points, ironically, on a week where it did not matter because like 29 wasn't anything when Devonta Freeman went off, when Saquon went off. So I don't know. He still didn't get the 100-yard bonus. He's still not getting like a crazy amount of carries. He just happened to score twice.
Yeah.
So I think he's fine, but I don't know. Still he played 44, 70 snaps. He's not like a 3-down back or anything. You're still relying on him to like really bust open those chunk plays. And ever since coming back, he hasn't done a ton of that. So I think he's fine. It's just.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not disagreeing.
Let's see. In this game, if I was guaranteed a full game of Jared Cook, I'd be very interested in that because I think on the high end of pricing, he'll probably go pretty under-owned.
Yeah, Goddard's going to soak up a ton of pricing.
Yeah.
Also, Caden Smith are going to soak up a ton of ownership. I'm sorry. Yes, I think that's a little bit contrarian. He just has to get the usage.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'd be worried about. I still don't think if you get, 3, basically for like him, it's just, can you get a score and I don't know, probably like 70, 80 yards. So like to really smash. And I think that's pretty achievable in 3 quarters of football. So I don't hate him, although it's a bit risky because I do think a third quarter sit is possible. Yeah, Goddard's going to be pretty massively owned.
Yeah, he's going to be really highly owned.
On the other side, Curtis Samuel with DJ Moore out is pretty interesting for me. It's just like the air yards have to matter at some point.
Yeah, I get it. Definitely get it if you want to do it.
But I mean, really, I think this is the ultimate narrative streak with Christian McCaffrey. I'm looking at him as the highest owned running back, and I plan on being overweight on that. He needs 217 yards, I believe, to get the all-time scrimmage yards. He needs 67 to get 1,000. I mean, they are going to do everything in their power as a team to get him there, right?
I would imagine so. Yeah, I would pretty much play McCaffrey in all formats. I guess you can make the case not to play him in tournaments, but in cash, I just go back to the well.
Yeah, I mean, I just like we saw with George Kittle last year. I think they have nothing to play for outside of getting Christian McCaffrey some dope records. And they're going to be doing that. The coach has already said as well that they expect McCaffrey to get his full usage load, so I don't think there's any risk of him getting pulled. Yeah, I think I'm going to be overweight on even in tournaments because I think all they care about at this point is just they're going to check down to him every single play till he gets that 67 yards. And if he has a decent first half, there's no chance they pull him if he's sort of on the tails of 217.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of that, probably nothing else on the Panthers side. Next game.
What does he need exactly? It's 100.
67 receiving yards, and I believe it's 217. It's in the 2 teens. It might be like 214, but total scrimmage yards to set the NFL record.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
I don't think he's chasing any other massive records. He's already got the receptions record for running back. I think he has that twice. I think he has it last year and this year. But yeah, those are the 2 big ones. And if he got either of those, but really the 217, obviously a massive, massive fantasy day. So,
yeah.
Next game we have, game that sucks. Vikings versus Chicago Bears. Vikings are 3.5-point favorites. That is mostly because they are resting their starters. I know I've seen Kirk Cousins out, Dalvin Cook out, Alexander Madison questionable, but I don't see in my right mind why they would play him either. I don't think we'll see any of Adam Thielen, probably not Stephon Diggs, although I'm not 100% on those guys. Any interest in the backups?
Not really, to be honest.
It'd be a lot easier if I felt good that they could do something against this defense. But like the Bears defense has been like above average this season. They just haven't been the Bears of last year. They're still a good defense. Just it's hard to maintain being the best defense year to year. They're a good defense, and they're going to face all these backups. 2,100, they'll be the chalkiest defense like of the season.
Yeah. I'm with 100 in cash, like you're playing them.
Yeah, like I guess are you just getting off them entirely in tournaments? Are you trying to build a different are you trying to wide receiver stack them? Even I'd imagine David Montgomery won't be very popular because he sucks. So
I guess you could go the Bears route in tournaments if you want. I honestly just like Aaron Jones and Devon. I'm just playing a lot of cash today, so Devontae Adams and Rodgers.
Let's see. Yeah, it's probably. I mean, if you were to tell me Olabisi Johnson gets a full game as the number one wide receiver, I don't really care who's throwing to him. I'd be in on that. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know why I said I was talking about the Packers.
Yeah.
Really, I'm sorry. No, I get it. Olabisi Johnson's fine. Yeah, I guess you could stack up the Bears in a dome. I think it makes sense in tournaments. I think that's pretty sharp, actually.
Yeah, I might get on board with that. I'd imagine, I don't care too much about defense, but I'd imagine if the Bears or if the Vikings are resting their offensive starters, we'll see some rest for their defense as well.
Who are we starting for the pass catchers for Bears?
I mean, I would limit it to exclusively Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller. Miller
full workload.
What?
Are they going to see a full workload?
Nothing has said that they won't. So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, Robinson has been consistent and awesome, whereas Miller, every other week, is a double-digit target week, followed by 3 targets. I think last week was an awful week. I think it was on a showdown slate. He killed me. But yeah, I mean, when his highs have been incredibly high, so
yeah.
Yeah. All right. On to the game that you seem to like a lot for cash. Go ahead and tell me why you like the Packers so much.
Yeah, Adams, Aaron Jones, Rodgers. I'm not playing Rodgers in cash, but Adams and Aaron Jones will probably make my cash game lineup. Aaron Jones has no Jamal Williams behind him. He's chasing a touchdown record. And Davante Adams is just too cheap in the game. They need to win. This game also has significance for the playoff seeding. So I just like the Packers. It's a game that matters in week 17.
Yeah, the Packers, they need a win. And they might need a Seahawks loss or something like that, I think. Or I guess a Saints loss would also do it. So, but for their scenarios to get a first round bye involve them getting a win. So
this is killing me, by the way.
It's killing the viewers. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones, like you said, no Jamal Williams, has been one of the most efficient running backs in terms of fantasy production in the league, and now he gets more touches. Yeah, absolutely all in on that, especially against Detroit's awful defense. And this, the same with Davante Adams. And even the loss of Jamal Williams does knock a decent amount of target share off the team. I don't know how much it affects Davante Adams, but it definitely can't hurt.
No, I'm with you.
Outside of that, any interest in any of the ancillary players? Your Geronimo Allisons, your Alan Lazards?
Alan Lazard, maybe, but that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, Lazard got a decent target share last week. I mean, it's Davante Adams and everyone else, but I think he's a worthwhile everyone else, especially if you wanted to stack this game.
Yeah, I get you.
Any interest on any of the Lions? I mean, I think it's pretty safe to limit it to Kenny Golladay or Danny Amendola, but even interested in those guys?
Not really.
That's fine. They suck. They've been the worst offense.
Golladay, still tilted on Golladay from WC.
Oh, yeah. You have a vendetta. All right, next game, we have Kansas City versus the Chargers. Kansas City are 10-point favorites, 45.5-point total. No massive injury news. Kansas City If they win and the New England Patriots lose, they get a first round bye. Not awfully likely, but they're at least going to play the first half as if they need a win. And I guess if the Patriots are killing Miami, I wouldn't be surprised to see Andy Reid start pulling starters in the second half. But I mean, even when you think about a 16-point spread, that only equates to like 17 now. 8 at halftime. That's not something that you would pull your starters over. So I expect to get at least 3 quarters plus out of Kansas City.
Yeah, it makes sense. For MME, I think like taking a shot on Mahomes, who's going to be relatively lower owned to the field than what he actually should be, as someone you could definitely consider. If he does see a full allotment of playing time, then you're in a really good spot. That would be pretty much it. Like Tyree, obviously his ancillary pieces. I like Damian Williams a good bit at 4,700 as well. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, the usual suspects on Kansas City for me. Tyreek is a great play. Travis Kelce, I typically don't pay up that much for tight end, and he hasn't had like a massive performance yet, and I don't know if he will. But yeah, outside of that, I like Tyreek. I probably limit him if I'm stacking with Mahomes. Like the games Tyreek goes off, like he just dominates the production so much that I would limit Tyreek to like one of the other smaller options if I'm double stacking to like a McCole Hardman or something. I can't imagine stacking both Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, I guess.
Yeah, I get you.
On the other side, and like you said, Damian Williams, one of the better value plays at running back. On the other side, I mean, their production's just so spread out. They throw a lot, but they throw to a lot of players. I like Mike Williams. Keenan Allen just like has been, I think he got a Pro Bowl, and it's like the most massively disappointing year for Keenan Allen. But for me, Austin Eckler, 50 yards away from 1,000 yards receiving would be the fourth running back to ever do that, barring Christian McCaffrey also doing it.
You think they care?
Yeah, kind of. I think so.
Who cares?
I know. I would imagine Austin Eckler cares. Like these players all know their numbers.
Yeah, they care, but do the coaches care?
I don't know. With like
we have coach speak around that. Like, yeah, it's fine. They should have been playing Austin Eckler all year, right?
Yeah. I mean, for sure about that. But I mean, I think they at least have to be cognizant of it, like the same way. Maybe it's a lesser record than like, George Kittle last year or what Christian McCaffrey's going for, but I still think they would be cognizant of it.
I think it makes for a good tournament game stack with Mahomes and Eckler.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'll be doing. I would imagine they're cognizant of it, and if they're cognizant of an attempt to get him 50 yards receiving, that's already like, if they actually get him that's already probably 9 to 10 points right there without any touchdowns and like. Yeah. And I would think they are cognizant of it because it's been pretty heavily covered. Like when you look up his name, it's like everything's just like looking to join a league company. Just all the stuff about the records he could set. He is also 100 yards away, or I guess it's 98 receiving yards away from the most receiving yards ever by a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will, like you said, I'm actually going to be pretty heavy on Mahomes, Tyreek, and run it back with Austin Eckler.
Nice. I'm going to do that right now. Start building my 150 around that because I like that call.
On the other players in LA, I don't know, they're all fine. Hunter Henry's seen a pretty significant downtick in work recently. I guess if you're looking to sort of limit your I don't want to try and play all of the Chargers, so I would probably knock him out then in that case.
Yeah, I get it.
I saw 7 targets last week, but before that, he hadn't seen it.
Negatively correlate somehow with. You can probably check it, but I think you might negatively correlate with Eckler, maybe.
Who?
Area.
Who was that?
Henry.
Let me see. Yeah, I can check it. Yeah, I actually think this is a pretty solid game stack. Two offenses that are capable of going like for a lot of points. Chargers more of like a feast or famine offense because Phillip Rivers is kind of dust, but almost completely neutral correlation with Hunter Henry and Austin Eckler.
Awesome. Yeah, you can put them together, I guess.
Yeah, I would think this, like, obviously the Chiefs offense massively explosive, but like all the talent we've seen, like I know it's Jacksonville, but like the points they put up on Jacksonville, like they have a lot of explosive players, the Chargers do. It's just whether Rivers can actually get them the ball. But yeah, I think this is one of my favorite sneaky game stacks.
Yeah, I like it too.
All right, let's hop into our next game. We have the Texans versus the Titans. Texans appear to not be playing any of their starters. Deshaun Watson will be active as a backup to AJ McCarron. DeAndre Hopkins active and unlikely to play much. Outside of that, they don't really have anybody I would care about anyways.
I get you.
Any interest in AJ McCarron?
No.
On the other side, I mean, like with the backups in, maybe I'm trying to think who, like Kiki Kute would be an interesting play. I don't know if they would consider him a starter. I would doubt it. I would think obviously their starters are Kenny Stills and DeAndre Hopkins. If we get like a decent amount of Kiki Kute versus like a Titans team that scores points, so AJ McCarron's going to be hawking the ball around, I wouldn't hate that.
I'm with you.
Trying to think of who else, maybe the tight ends, but they've been using their tight ends a lot. I wouldn't be surprised to see less of them as like could treat them like the starters.
Yeah.
On the other side, obviously the Titans are going full bore because they have a win in their in scenario. So they we're going to see a full slate of them. It looks like Derrick Henry is relatively healthy. I believe they said they rested him last week with the intent that he would be healthy this week because they knew last week didn't matter.
So they're probably going to give him a good amount of workload. I don't mind Henry. Tannehill would be someone I'd be. I know it should be a really good play. He's going to come in at lower ownership. He's going against a good second. I don't mind Tannehill actually.
Yeah, if Tannehill is going to be low owned, I think that's a great play. I guess how would you stack him though? Because like AJ Brown, I would imagine is a lock if you're playing Tannehill. Outside of that, the receivers all kind of suck.
Yeah, just basically a game stack, man. No, I would just stack him Tannehill and AJ Brown. I don't want to really. I don't know. There's no one to run it back with Houston, right? Like I feel like, are they sitting guys, Houston?
Yeah, they're sitting Hopkins and Watson.
Yeah, so I don't want to run it back with anyone. It'd just be a stack of Tannehill and AJ Brown.
Jonnu Smith would be like one other player that I consider stacking. Like at this point, I think it's time to give up on Corey Davis. It's just he's been bad and inefficient, doesn't get a ton of volume. I don't know. I'm sure he'll go off at some point, but
You're not going to happen when he does.
Yeah. As opposed to Jonnu Smith, just a pretty solid player. Scored a decent amount of touchdowns in the past few weeks. He's got 2 in the past 3. He's gone over 60 in back-to-back games, 4 targets in each of the past 3 games. Get enough volume, especially if this offense continues to be efficient.
No, I'm with you. Solid play.
Yeah, outside of that, probably, Derrick Henry. Would you stack Derrick Henry with Ryan Tannehill?
I don't see why not. I think you definitely do that. Derrick Henry with Tannehill. No, you can't do that. I just think if AJ Brown sat, like, yeah, you could, but no, you can't do that. What am I saying? Very sick this morning.
All right, let's get into our next game. Dallas versus Washington. Dallas, 13.5-point favorites, a 45.5-point total. I am looking at projections for Washington. Massive value on this team because they're without Terry McLaurin. Steven Smith didn't really get a price up despite the fact that he had a massive game last week. He's 47. I'm sure 47 is more than he was last week, but for a guy who's now the receiver 1, I think Steven Sims is like cash viable.
Yeah, like Harmon, like Sims. I might prefer Harmon and cash at 3,900. I just think he's a better play.
If it fits with your price, like if that price lets you get other things, definitely.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I would say Kelvin Harmon probably fills the Terry McLaurin role better. Like Steven Sims, like an exclusive, like a pretty exclusive slot player, whereas obviously Terry McLaurin outside burner. I don't think Kelvin Harmon's very fast, but he would play an outside receiver role. So I would think his role overlaps more with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I would say the same.
No interest for me in Adrian Peterson. There's just he's not the worst play in the world, but there are just so many better running back plays. I would never go there.
Who's your favorite defense on the slate?
Like in cash, Chicago.
Outside of cash.
So I was hoping RG3 would be more popular, but Pittsburgh's defense going up against RG3. Pittsburgh, everything to play for. They need a win and a Titans loss, and they're at different times, so they won't be able to pull their starters. They have second most sacks in the NFL, and they play RG3, who's been sacked like a 9% rate throughout his career, without any of his starting weapons either.
Interesting. I like that call.
I just wish there was a better like correlation play. Maybe I'll see if any of the receivers correlate, but the receivers suck because Devlin Hodges is bad.
Yeah.
What game were we talking about? On the Dallas side, I mean, it's business as usual. I like Amari Cooper literally got pulled on the last play of the game last week. Are you playing him anymore?
I feel like you can leverage recency bias if you want. Like they're going up against the Redskins. Like he should get the job done eventually. I think he got, what was it? Why did he get pulled? It was like a weird.
The coach Garrett made up some he had some weird reason. He was like, well, we like the personnel we had on the field or something. Like it was kind of non-speak. It wasn't anything like damning of him.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like having a little Cooper today, maybe to offset Ezekiel ownership.
Yeah, I like that. I would say the same for Gallup, who I think Gallup is the better receiver on this team, honestly. Not that they're not both good, just I like Gallup more. But any interest in running Dak with these receivers?
Cooper can break a slate, though.
Yeah. So I guess if you like Cooper, I like Gallup. Any interest in Dak?
I like Cooper and Gallup. I'm just saying, I honestly like if people are going to be low on Cooper, like I wouldn't mind having. We know people are going to be high on Zeke today, so I don't mind.
Yep.
Like,
you're
Cooper.
Yeah. So you like Cooper? You like Gallup? Do you like Dak?
Yeah, Dax was pretty much my second option for QB and cash today.
Yeah, he's not even going to be like massively popular. I'm looking at him.
Third option. Earlier in the week, I liked him more.
Yeah.
No, that's not right. That's not right.
All right, let's hop into our next game. We have the Giants versus the Eagles. Giants 3.5-point dogs, 44.5-point total. Eagles win and they're in, or they get in with a Cowboys loss. I like me some Daniel Jones. I don't know if he's a good quarterback, but he is a great fantasy quarterback. He has like multiple 5-touchdown games already, massive rushing equity. Like he's like a vintage Josh Allen.
I'm with you. Daniel Jones, really good play.
I don't know. Darius Slayton, I got to see. So he last week started the game, got injured, came back in the fourth quarter, but it didn't obviously if you play roughly a quarter and a half, it did not matter for him. Didn't have a good game, but if he's going to play, anytime you get Darius Slayton on a slate, massive upside. And if you're going Daniel Jones, I don't see why you wouldn't stack him. I'm not seeing any indication that he won't play. So
no, I'm with you. I really like Slayton. I think it's a great call. With Jones, Jones won't play. Or Slayton won't play. I think Slayton's playing, right?
Yeah, Slayton's playing. I'm saying I might have worded that poorly. I don't see any indication that he won't play, and I'm seeing Slayton ready for Week 17, so he's in.
All right, I'm with you.
Any interest in Saquon Barkley? I got punished for not playing Saquon.
We already got the Saquon week.
Yeah, I don't know, kind of how I feel. I think the people chasing it are going to end up making it more than it's worth.
Yeah, I would just leave it as is.
All right, next game we have, we've got Baltimore versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh are 1-point favorites. Baltimore appears to be resting. We know they're resting Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram. Also appear to be resting Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown. So their entire suite of offensive weapons will be out. RG3 in at 5,100. I would be very confident in a good week from RG3 if they weren't playing, if they weren't in one of the worst totals of the week. Yeah, he's going to be pretty low owned. And if they didn't play an awesome Pittsburgh defense and he had any weapons, but all of those things are true. I don't know. This game, I can't play any Pittsburgh receivers because their offense has been awful no matter who their backup has been. Their target share is now spread out with 3 viable receivers.
I'm with you. It's going to be tough to play those Pittsburgh guys.
And they have a 19 implied team total. It's not even like you can capture a lot of scoring by getting the receiver right, according to Vegas at least.
Yeah.
And the same with the running back. They rotate 3 running backs. I don't know if this is official, but I don't think James Conner is playing. They've rotated in Kareth White, who's, I believe, got cut by the Bears, and they signed him to their practice squad. Yeah, James Conner not playing, but that just means. I guess we should have talked about in the Eagles game. No Zach Ertz. I mean, we talked about it before, but just
Goddard is just
Dallas Goedert smash spot, and that's about it. I think Greg Ward also. Matt in the chat brings Greg Ward up. I think Greg Ward also a very solid play.
Greg Ward's a really good play as well.
And I think he'll probably be, if he's not massively owned, a pretty solid pivot off of Goddard. Yeah. And outside of that, a decent amount of, we might see some Boston Scott with they're just bleeding receiver talent. I think we could get a decent amount of 2 running back sets with Boston Scott.
No, I think you're right. I like Boston Scott. I think he's a strong. What's Boston Scott's price?
4,100.
Yeah, if he was closer, if he's like 38, I think he's still a good play with that, with all these dead receivers in this lineup.
Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly. Yeah, Dallas Goedert. I just like I could very much see him going like 6 for 70 or something, or 7 for 70, 14 points and no touchdown. And he doesn't smash. It's just the ownership I'd imagine we're going to see on him is not worth it in tournaments.
No, I get you. Makes sense.
And yeah, we talked about the Pittsburgh game a little bit. I got nothing else for this one. Let's move on to another game with cash implications. Indy versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville 6-point dogs, 41.5 point total. Indy cannot make the playoffs, but their game could have playoff implications. On the Jacksonville side, Leonard Fournette is doubtful, I believe, with an illness. Reichwell Armstead at 40 whatever hundred, just a absolute smash.
Lock button in cash.
Yeah, I think the rest of this morning I'm going to be figuring out what I want to do with him in tournaments. I mean, he's projected by far and away as the best value play. They are 6 point under.
Yeah, what? Should I have went grape or orange? Should I went grape, right?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of artificial grape flavors.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like grape's the better flavor. But
I don't know. Does the orange taste like Tang?
the orange is all right, but
on the Jacksonville side, yeah, Reichwell Armstead, I don't know, the rest of the passing game, hard for me to get too interested because, like we said with Pittsburgh, they're so spread out, and it's not like you capture a ton of points. I guess, you capture even less points.
Yeah. I get you. I like Armstead. We're playing him in cash.
Yeah, Armstead's like a lock in cash. It's just up to me to figure out if I want to play him in tournaments or not. Do I eat that chalk and go elsewhere? I would lean towards that. I've been pretty big on just eating the chalk at cheap cash running backs all season, and it's mostly hit. Double DeAndre Washington, whoever was the backup for the Giants that one game. Up until 2 weeks ago, he had more points in a single game than Saquon Barkley.
Hang your hat on that.
So I'll probably be over the field, like lock buttoning Reichwell Armstead. On the other side, Marlon Mack. Now Jordan Wilkins out. Marlon Mack should see a decent amount of work against one of the worst rush defenses in the league, especially as of late. Any interest in like tournament Marlon Mack?
Can I run it back with anyone?
I mean, I guess
not, dude.
Let me see.
I'm playing Armstead, so I don't really like to roster 2 running
backs.
back.
I will say double running back has hit like a bunch late in the season. Aaron Jones did it with somebody else. Derrick Henry and Leonard Fournette did it. Like it was the optimal, I think, 3 or 4 times in the second half of the season.
Okay, so I guess you can do it.
Reichwell Armstead, not a college pass catcher. I was going to say if he was a decent pass catcher, like that's sort of one out to do double running back, but I don't know. I still trust the process and probably won't do any of that.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton last week came he's gotten decent work basically in both of his weeks back. He played over half the snaps, got 4 targets in a game that they didn't have to throw the ball at all. So that doesn't concern me a ton. And the week back, he didn't play a ton of snaps. He got 9 targets against the Saints. I don't know. I think he's an interesting tournament play because nobody's going to be on him, and he plays Jacksonville.
I like T.Y. I think he would be someone to run Armstead back with. Is Jacoby Brissett playing, or is it Hoyer?
I imagine it's Brissett. I don't think they have any intention of resting their starters.
Yeah, I like T.Y. I think T.Y. is actually pretty sneaky and someone to kind of differentiate builds in with Armstead.
Yeah, that was just my thoughts. I don't like T.Y. Hilton's nowhere close to cash for me, and it would
Yeah.
it would make sense for them to not play him, but it seems like that's the route they're going to go, is to play him. So yeah, I think it's probably one good way to differentiate your Armstead lineups.
Yeah.
All right, next game, a game I like very much. It is Denver versus Oakland. Denver 3.5-point favorites. I just like playing against Oakland. For me, it's two players on Denver: Noah Fant, Cortland Sutton. Noah Fant, as far as tight ends go, relatively high ADOT and massively athletic, and Cortland Sutton's just a beast. And of course, Oakland allows the most 15-yard passing plays in the league, and they allow them the highest rate in the league. Love me some guys playing against Oakland. On the Oakland side, DeAndre Washington got priced up, but still not enough for the 3-down role he fills when he's healthy. So, or when Josh Jacobs is not healthy, I guess. So, DeAndre Washington, I guess I haven't looked too much into like building cash. DeAndre Washington in cash, yay or nay?
I think he's fine in cash. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, at 5,200, he's not like the smash that he was at 40 whatever 100.
Yeah,
40 on the last 4K. So, yeah, like Armstead, much more of a lock in cash than a guy like Washington is. But I still think Washington cash viable. Yeah, on the Oakland side, I don't know, Hunter Renfrow, Tyrell Williams. I don't know. I think with Hunter Renfrow back in the lineup, immediately saw Darren Waller not have a great game. They have been very negatively correlated, and I think that's going to continue. So,
no, I'm with you. I think it's a tough roster to get Renfrow. Yeah, they are negatively correlated. I don't know. It's either one or the other for me as well.
Yeah, outside of that, probably I guess if you wanted in tournaments, running Washington back with a Fant or a Sutton is probably not a bad play.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
All right, next and last game of the main slate, the Rams versus the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, a true game time decision, they're calling it. If Hundley gets the start, like, he's not good, but he runs the ball a lot. My question would be, what's his price?
He is 4,500.
Yeah, just like the rushing equity you get with him. Like, I guess my only question is, when you play him, if Murray does get the start, where are you pivoting to on the 4 p.m. slate?
Yeah, I haven't quite figured that out yet.
Yeah, see, that was my only concern, because I am not as confident in you that Kyler Murray won't play, but I don't know. If he does not play, I think Hundley is one of the better plays on the slate at quarterback.
If he doesn't play, you just really can leave salary, leave 4,900, and then you're pretty much just swap. Who's on 4 p.m. that's who's cheap? I have to come down from I don't even want to think about it right now. I don't know what to think.
I guess I don't know. I thought I still think, and I thought earlier in the week more convincingly, that RG3 would end up being cash viable, because they're going to run him in the same offense.
It would be RG3. Pittsburgh's defense is, like you said, motivated. I like it would be RG3. I would try to get to RG3.
Yeah, I don't love RG3, but like the rushing equity he's going to get is still, like, as long as they run the same offense, even with lesser players, it's still going to be pretty good for 5,100, right? So
yeah, 51's not bad. The thing that worries me is they say McSorley is going to get some burn as well, so that kind of killed RG3 for me.
Yeah, I did see that. I don't know. Yeah, it's let me see what else we have on Drew Lock. How much is Drew Lock versus Oakland?
Drew Lock versus Oakland. He is 5,800.
Yeah, there's not you'd have to it depends on who you're playing at the 4 slot, the 4 p.m. slot, but
cash would definitely be RG3.
Yeah.
You would probably just go down to Caden Smith from Goddard and up to RG3. That I don't know.
Nice. Caden Smith has literally played every single snap. He is probably because he's their only tight end left, but they run him out every single time. He gets a pretty awful secondary to I don't hate Caden Smith.
Yeah, he's probably the play, I would say.
So yeah, I don't think you give up a ton in terms of going down from Goddard to Smith. Like I still think Smith is a good play. And if we didn't have the Goddard news, like Smith, I think is like
that's the swap. It's Griffin and Smith It's Goddard and Hundley to Griffin and Smith.
So in Caden Smith's 5, I believe these are all starts, but in his 5 games since everyone's been injured, he's missed 10 snaps or I guess 11 entire snaps.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it. I mean, I like him. I think it's a good play. And I wouldn't mind stacking him with like Daniel Jones and Slayton.
No, I think that's fine.
In tournaments, that is. I'm not building a whole game stack.
We can handle the Dolphins defense. I feel like I'm going to end up having to play them.
I mean, how much are they?
1,800.
I guess it's fine because like defense doesn't matter that much. But like 1,800, it doesn't take a lot for them to get there. But like, I don't get why you wouldn't find the 300 to go to Chicago.
So I like my guys. I like my build. You know,
I know you like your guys. On the Rams side, they've talked about sitting some players. I don't think they've made anything official. I'm playing 0 Rams unless we get news. Like if we get news, I would swap. I would like late swap to Malcolm Brown with Darrell Henderson on IR. I believe Malcolm Brown would get all the touches. I guess he'd give some to John Kelly, but I'd like me some Malcolm Brown.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Outside of that, I don't know. No Rams for me. Even if I don't know. I guess if they swap or if they say that they're sitting their entire starting unit, I would just go to their backups at receiver. If like Josh Reynolds doesn't sit, he'd be a great play. I don't even know who else they have.
Yeah, I think Josh Reynolds is a good play. Yeah.
All right, let's get into our questions before you die.
Yeah.
Best value running back for cash, Raquel Armstead. Pretty clear cut there. Best value wide receiver for cash. I guess Bob, you can answer this one. Are you of the opinion that that's like Kelvin Harmon?
I think it's Harmon or Ross. Yeah.
I guess what do you think about Christian Kirk? 4,700, getting like typical Christian Kirk volume, just been like sucking with it lately.
He still got that high ankle sprain. Well, he doesn't have it, but I don't know. I feel like
he could still be dealing with it and just like not listed on the injury report because he's full practicing. So
yeah, I don't know. We've seen it with Kamara too, right? Like Kamara was pretty tentative. He's a running back, obviously, but still for receivers. Well, like, I just don't like leg injuries for skilled players.
Yeah, 100%. Next question. Thanks for your advice all season. You guys are great. Last time QB and defense on FanDuel cash. I would assume Brett Hundley isn't priced up. If he ends up getting the start, he is the guy in he'd be the guy on FanDuel. Defense on FanDuel. Let me see. So right now, here's a good one. Jets 3,200 facing, I would imagine, decent amount of Buffalo backups. Higher priced. What was that?
I like Barkley. For FanDuel, I would just go like Steelers or Patriots. And then at QB, that's for defense. And then at QB, it would probably be – I think you can make a case for like the only guy like I think people – I don't know, maybe Daniel Jones on FanDuel.
Yeah, what's his price on FanDuel?
Everyone but Jameis. Like Jameis is going to be a consideration for a lot of people in cash on DK. I just would not play him on FD. This is no 300-yard bonus.
Yeah, you do with him and Ryan. That game becomes less interesting, I think, because the 100-yard bonuses and the 300-yard bonuses.
I think Tannehill is very viable too on FanDuel. I just got to pull prices up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tannehill 79. He's had, I believe, 75% of his team's touchdowns since starting. Like he is the entirety of their offense. Also has a ton of rushing equity.
Yeah, it would be Tannehill, Wentz. Where's Daniel Jones? He has to be.
Daniel Jones is 75.
That might be Jones for me. I don't know. I'm not really playing FT this week. I'm like ready to just go in bed and pass out after that. I'm not even playing much.
Assuming if you get like, I would imagine I'm still playing McCaffrey on FD. McCaffrey, Raquel Armstead. There are probably still some decent values on guys like Kelvin Harmon. let me see. I don't know. I'm not looking at his massive values. Yeah, Steven Sims still a good value at 6K. Not the best, but I would try and get up at quarterback this week because there are only a handful of quarterbacks I feel good about just looking at their prices. So yeah, I think Tannehill would be kind of the guy for me.
Yeah, I like Tannehill. I like that call, especially with the rushing equity.
Yeah. That is the entirety. That is the final main slate.
Daniel Jones is the rushing equity too, though.
Yeah, no, both of them are good. Daniel Jones is cheaper, not as high implied team total though.
So it's Tannehill.
Tannehill, lock it in. All right, everybody, that is the season. Thank you for tuning in every week. We will, I don't know, maybe we'll have some stuff for playoffs, maybe not. But if not, we will catch you in 2020. I guess either way, we'll catch you in 2020.
Yeah. Later, guys.